All right, we have a fight night coming up this week, and it's not on Saturday. It's on Thursday night, where Brooklynite Teofimo Lopez will defend his WBO super lightweight title for the first time against Jamaine Ortiz in Las Vegas. Joining me in studio to break down this bout for a local fighter is boxing play-by-play announcer, Curran Bhatia. Curran, what's going on, man?
Dexter, it's always a pleasure, man.
Love
chatting boxing with you, sports, all of it.
We get to do it all. I feel like you're always here.
I know.
That's not a bad thing.
No, I love it.
And it's definitely always good to talk boxing with you. And Curran, I want to talk to you about Teofimo Lopez and his rise, because we've seen this rise for him since beating Vasily Lomachenko, one of my favorite fighters to watch. We saw that back in 2020. We saw him capture the WBO super lightweight title, in his last fight when he knocked off Josh Taylor. For this fight, Lopez, for the fans out there, he's predicted a knockout. Now, we've seen knockout power from the man that they call the showman. We've seen this before. Is this a matchup against Ortiz where you can see Lopez dominating with his power?
Teofimo Lopez versus Jamaine Ortiz. It's going down this Thursday, Super Bowl weekend. It's going down in Vegas, a huge opportunity for Teofimo Lopez. Now, you're asking about Teo's power.
Yep.
The thing about Teofimo Lopez, he's got power, he's brash, he's a showman. He really can do it all. And one of the things is, you mentioned Lomachenko in that fight. That was a massive opportunity for Teofimo, and he was successful. But we've been seeing Teofimo Lopez light it up in the boxing ring even before then because of the highlight reel knockouts, the highlight reel celebrations. Like I said, he's brash, he's larger than life, he's a huge personality. Only has one loss. That loss was to Kambosos, and there was a lot of health concerns going on with Teofimo Lopez in that fight. So you could say, okay, that was one fight because of health. He moved up in weight. Since moving up in weight, 3-0 undefeated. Now has a chance against the tough Ortiz. So I think Teofimo Lopez's power is definitely going to come into play when he takes on Jamaine Ortiz.
Yeah, there's no doubt. You got to watch for that power. We've seen it before. He's been a showman, as I said. That is the nickname. He has absolutely shown that power, as Curran has said. Now, we got to look at Ortiz because he's coming off a 10-round decision victory over Antonio Morgan in his junior welterweight debut. That was back in September.
Yep.
Now, this is the first world title fight for Ortiz, who comes into this one as an underdog. He's a clear underdog in this. Do you believe Ortiz can pull off the upset? And if you believe that, how's he going to get this done?
Jamaine Ortiz, can he pull up the upset? Well, that's why we fight. Of course, there's an opportunity and a chance to do so. Do I think it's going to happen? Not necessarily. Now, you mentioned Teofimo Lopez. They also call him the takeover, right? And that's a testament to his prolific offense that he's shown in the ring. His last fight against Josh Taylor, who was an undefeated champion, a former undisputed champion, Teofimo looked sensational. I actually spoke to both men before the fight. They were both supremely motivated, and Teofimo rose to that next level. So this is going to be a tough task for Jamaine Ortiz. Here's the case for Jamaine Ortiz. He's only had one loss, and that was to Vasily Lomachenko, an incredible fighter, a top fighter of this generation in Lomachenko. So Ortiz has been here before in terms of the bright lights. This isn't his first time under the bright lights. He can act like he's been there before, right? The other thing is, if you look at some of Ortiz's training, he looks in phenomenal shape. He looks like he's ready for this matchup. He took the loss to Lomachenko. He came back with a win against Antonio Moran. So that was a good win for his confidence, right? So now his confidence is back, but he's going right back into the lion's den, this time against the tough Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, absolutely, the lion's den. It's not going to be easy. You're right. He's faced the bright lights before. He's not going to be, I think, stunned by this. This is not going to overwhelm him, I think, but he is the underdog in this one. We're going to come back to that fight in terms of Lopez or Ortiz. But to let the people know, Thursday's boxing action is also a co-main event that features a 10-round lightweight fight between American Olympic silver medalist Keyshawn Davis and former Puerto Rican two-division world champion Jose Sniper Pedraza. Now, this is an intriguing matchup here because Pedraza returning to the lightweight division, and Davis has got a nice undefeated professional run to a world title fight since we saw what he did at the previous Summer Olympics. How do you see this lightweight bout playing out?
This is a phenomenal matchup. Keyshawn Davis versus Jose Pedraza. Can't say enough amazing things about Keyshawn Davis. He's got the Olympic pedigree, like you mentioned. One other thing that people may not know about Keyshawn Davis, he's actually battled mental health challenges. And there was a point where he had to check himself into a facility. He was able to work through that, continue on his professional record. He's now undefeated, 9-0, 6 knockouts. So his last fight was actually changed to a no contest, no decision. It was a majority decision win. He had marijuana in his system, and it was changed to a no contest because that was the laws in Texas. He says now, since then, he's cut that completely out of his life. He's more focused, happier, more motivated than he's ever been. And he's overcoming all of these challenges and putting everything into boxing. So you're going to see the best version of Keyshawn Davis taking on Pedraza. Now you say, Jose Pedraza also has a great resume. He's got a couple losses, but those are against fighters at the highest level. Tank Davis is one of those. So it's almost like Pedraza's like a throwback fighter, fighting all of the best names. That's what we want to see in boxing. Dare to be great. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Even if you come up short, though, we can say we respect that because you're challenging yourself against the highest level, right? It's the tough thing in boxing. We always say, why don't the best fight the best? So Pedraza is someone who is going to fight the best no matter what. He's doing that again against Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah, this one should be a good one in terms of that co-main event, one that people should keep their eyes on. Now, let's do this, Curran. Back to Lopez and Ortiz. Here we go, putting you in the hot seat. You're sitting in the hot seat over there.
Yes.
If you had to make a prediction,
Sure.
Are you going with Lopez to retain his super lightweight title, or do you see Ortiz pulling off the upset in Vegas?
I'm going to be picking Teofimo Lopez in this fight. I think the power, the experience, all of it is going to be too much for Jamaine Ortiz. Now, the one game plan for Jamaine Ortiz, what's served him well in the past, is the fighting style he did against Jamel Herring. We saw it in his last fight as well against Moran. It's when you are a prolific counterpuncher and you're able to time punches. So if he can punch through the punches of Teofimo Lopez, yes, he could have success, but that's a very difficult thing to do because Teofimo can do so many different things in the ring. Like I said, he's got speed, he's got power, he can switch up styles, he can box, he can move. If you watched the Teofimo Lopez that fought Vasily Lomachenko, he was supremely motivated, supremely focused, and he was able to box a lot of the fight. And then in the 12th round where he really needed to dig deep, he was able to dig deep. So I just think Teofimo Lopez can do so many different things, and he knows what's on the line in this fight. If Teofimo Lopez is successful, there's a lot of huge names in the division. There's Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, Tank Davis. There's a rematch with Lomachenko, rematch with Kambosos. There's so many different options for Teofimo Lopez. So he knows Lopez retired for a little bit before this fight. Now he's back. He's motivated. So I think we're going to see one of the best versions of Teofimo Lopez. He looked sensational in his last fight versus Taylor. I think we're going to see an even better Teofimo Lopez. And I think he's going to be successful on Thursday night.
We will see if the Brooklyn Knight is successful on Thursday night in his matchup against Jamaine Ortiz. You know who's going to be watching it? It's Curran Bhatia. He was going to be all over it. One of the best play-by-play voices in the sport of boxing. Curran, always a pleasure to talk some boxing with you, and we will both enjoy this fight.
Absolutely. Enjoy the fights. Enjoy the Super Bowl, all of it. It's a great week in sports. We got combat sports. We got the Super Bowl. I mean, love it, man.
Gotta love it.